Welcome back again to another episode of Big Red's Isopods. This week we're going to be taking a look at one of my species of Cubaris and doing a little bit of a care guide video on it. Anyway, let's get to it. Thanks. Well, anyway, guys, today we're going to be taking a look at my culture of Cubaris Murina, my little sea isopods. So, if we take a look in here, they're kind of quite a bland isopod as for the coloration of them. They do have a little bit of markings on their back end there. You can see they got two orange little stripes. They are kind of more bland than a lot of the other species that I keep and other species that you can buy. But I find these to be quite an interesting species. They do breed quite prolifically. As you can see, there's quite a few of them in here, and I haven't had them quite as long as a lot of other species I have. And they're actually really neat as in the fact that they are the only Cubaris species native to the American continent. So these guys are actually found in South America naturally, where a lot of, or almost all of the other species of Cubaris are found in Thailand or Asia. So I personally think they're a great species for anybody who wants to be a part of the community, who wants to keep isopods for the hobby or wants to try to breed isopods. They breed quite quick, and as you can see, quite numerously. Not only that, I think they have just cool little exoskeleton they got there. Their body's got quite a neat shape. They do curl into tight balls, so if you like the armadillidiums or any of the other Cubaris species, you are going to really like these guys. I also really like them for the fact that they have two little orange stripes on their backside. I'll see if I can get a good close-up on them for you to show you that more. Here, we might be able to take a look here. As you can see on the back side of that one there, they have two little orange stripes, which I think is kind of cute. And I like them for the fact that they are a relatively hungry species. So I'm going to give them a couple pieces of this is broccoli stem here. Might break them up a little bit, move them around a little. I do have quite a few in here. If we take a look under here, it's going to have quite a lot of them. And they do come in multiple different colors, different shades, I should say. They're mostly all a gray color, and I'm assuming a lot of these lighter ones are freshly molted ones. But they do come in a kind of almost dark coloration and a lighter coloration. But they all have that little orange stripes on their tails, as you can see here. Taking a look at all of these ones, they all have those little two orange stripes on their bums. But I also like them due to the fact that I think they would be great as a for somebody to want to keep isopods for a bioactive setup. Due to the fact that they are relatively hungry species, they do tend to eat quite a bit for how few of them I have, and the fact that they are relatively cheap. So a lot of people that are using isopods in a bioactive enclosure, they want them to be a relatively hardy species, which I do believe this species is. They're relatively quick breeding, long-lasting species. They're not going to die out on you. They're not too expensive, so you don't have to spend a bunch of money just to have them die out on you. So I think that they'd be great to have as a bioactive setup. If I was going to set up a bioactive setup and I wanted something different than the norm, if I wanted something that was more of the isopod that would curl up like an armadillidium. Not a lot of the armadillidiums are that great for keeping in a bioactive setup, in my opinion, because they don't tend to eat too terribly much. And if they do, it's a lot of vegetables. They do like to graze on vegetables. They will eat protein as well, but I don't think they would have a very good time cleaning up the poops as much as some of the other species that you could keep. And I feel like these guys would be relatively okay at it, since they do tend to eat pretty much everything I put in here. I found that a lot of the Armadillidium species prefer to eat more veggies, or about a 50-50 mix, where some of the species is more heavy protein and then light on the veggies. And then again, yeah, great to just clean up everything. As you can see, as soon as there's food in here, you can just see them going to town, munching out. Of course, they're hungry, and they will eat the veggies. I don't see any on them right this second, but I do know that they will eat them because it is gone by the next week when I feed them the next time. And if I were to check on them midweek, they would be gone as well. Also, I think they'd be great is because they will hide. They're not going to be out in the open all the time. They're going to hide underneath things. They're going to try to stay still so they're not noticeable right away, and then they're going to curl up so that they're not going to get injured or damaged too quickly. Where a lot of the other species, the Porcellus species, I feel like they're a little bit more vulnerable in that regard, to the fact that they don't have as tough of a exoskeleton, in my opinion. They might, I could be wrong, but I find that they their legs and everything are a little bit more out and about, and they are more pricey. A lot of the Porcellus, like not the powder blues or the lavis that are found quite readily available, but some of the Spanish Porcellus species are really high in price, where these ones are relatively cheap due to the fact that they just breed so well, and that they're a North American found species. So you don't have to, they travel from South America to North America, which is where I live, and I find that they are definitely cheaper in that regard, due to the fact that they don't have to ship them across the ocean. They're the cheapest Cubaris species I've ever seen. When I say cheapest, most of the Cubaris species get sold around $70 to $80 to $100 to $200 range, where I think these ones were closer to the $35, $25 range. I'm not exactly sure what people sell them for. It could be more than that, it could be less than that. I think that's about where I bought mine at. Lower now, they could be up in price now. The Cubaris name is obviously just that the way they are. So they are from the species Cubaris. And I do believe it has something to do with the way that their shell is shaped, which would make them a Cubaris. Not to say that they don't look like the Armadillidium, but I find that their back end tends to curl up a little bit more, and they kind of ball up a little bit tighter than a lot of the Armadillidium species. And I know that a lot of people in the hobby will take an Armadillidium species and give it a Cubaris name when they're a relatively new species, just to bump up the price. So they do look similar, but they're not the same. But yeah, anyway, to wrap it up, they're obviously great for the hobbyists. If you just want to have something that you can just watch run around, scurry around, a little cute guys. They're not going to get too terribly big on you. They do get up there in size, but as you can see in this video, I've shown you pretty well my entire culture here. That's about as big as they get, and they're pretty adorable. They don't get, like, that's the size compared to my pinky nail. I don't have the largest hands out there, but I don't have small hands by any means. But yeah, there's another fairly large one there as well. So I think they're great to have. They're a really cute isopod. You can see why they get their name Little C. But I think they're also great to have is a bioactive setup. I do have some calcium ready and available for them here, but they don't seem to eat it too terribly much. There's a lot of other species that seem to want it more. So it seems like these guys are pretty well good on their own. As long as you give them a little bit of leaf litter to make sure that they're okay. Give them a little bit of moisture gradient, just like you do any other isopod. They seem to do just fine, and they seem to multiply well. And just as proof for you of how small they do get, you can take a look at some of the babies here. There's one right there. It is super small. They'll pretty much hide in a water droplet. That's how small they start out as. And when I started breeding these guys, I knew that they'd be small, but I did not realize that they'd be just as small as they actually are. So anyway, guys, that's all I gotta say about that. So there you go, guys. A quick little care guide for you there about Cubaris Murina. They're basically the same as any other isopod that you would find in your backyard, but I think they're just adorable. I love the fact that they have the little orange stripes on their tail, and I love the fact of how tiny they are and how they love to just run around and I guess nibble on stuff, scurry around. I don't know. You know, I love all isopods. I couldn't tell you which one's my favorite. They all have their own unique qualities, and it's definitely one that I'm happy to have in my my large obsession, I guess you could say here, collection. So yeah, other than that, they're pretty easy to take care of. They do need a little bit of a warmer temperature, but I think they'd survive in cooler ones as well. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So thanks for watching this week, and we'll see you again next week. I have been moving my video days from Sunday to Thursday due to my work schedule has changed. I'm no longer in one shift, I'm now on a different one. So I'll be seeing you guys every Thursday, and maybe more on if I get more time. So yeah, we'll see you guys around. Thanks, bye.